In the quiet corner of the city, where the hustle never quite reached her simple life, Emma was just a humble maid, tending to her duties with quiet grace. Every day, she cleaned the same grand halls of the estate, her presence unnoticed by the world's powerful players. She was a student by night, dreaming of a future beyond dust and dishes, but by day, she was just Emma, the girl who kept things running smoothly behind the scenes. One ordinary morning, Emma was rushing through her chores when fate took an unexpected turn. As she hurried through the mansion's opulent corridor, she accidentally bumped into someone, an imposing figure whose presence seemed to fill the entire space. It was Vincent Russo, the notorious Mafia boss whose name echoed in whispers of fear and respect across the city. His sharp eyes met hers for just a moment, and in that fleeting instant, Emma felt her heart skip a beat. She quickly looked away, flustered, but Vincent's gaze lingered a little longer, as if he saw something in her that no one else did. Their worlds collided again in a most unlikely way. A few days later, Emma was assigned to help with a special event at the estate, an exclusive party hosted by Vincent himself. Dressed in her simple uniform, she was meant to assist in setting up, unaware of the chaos that awaited her. As she moved through the crowded halls, she accidentally spilled a tray of drinks right in front of Vincent. For a moment, her face burned with embarrassment, expecting anger or irritation. Instead, Vincent's expression softened slightly, a flicker of something unexpected crossing his otherwise stern face. "Are you all right?" he asked, voice deep and surprisingly gentle. Emma nodded, flustered, as the guests stared in surprise. But that wasn't the only twist of fate. Later that evening, amidst the clamor of the party, Emma found herself in a dangerous situation, cornered by some unruly guests who had too much to drink. Just as panic set in, Vincent appeared, his commanding presence cutting through the chaos. Without hesitation, he intervened, escorting Emma away from trouble as if protecting someone precious. In that moment, the contrast was stark, she, a humble maid, trembling slightly, and he, a powerful man whose protectiveness seemed almost out of place in his intimidating persona. It wasn't just the glamour of the party, or the danger that made Emma's heart race. It was the quiet kindness Vincent showed that night, an unexpected tenderness from someone so feared. As she looked into his eyes, Emma wondered, could a man so powerful and feared truly see her as more than just a maid? Could she, someone so ordinary, ever step into a world of danger and desire, and find something real? And more than anything, she couldn't help but ask herself, does he see her for who she truly is, or is she just another face in the crowd vying for his attention? If you found yourself captivated by Emma's story, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more stories like this, and comment below, where are you watching from? Let's keep the conversation going as we dive deeper into a world where love and power collide in the most unexpected ways. In the heart of the city's shadowed underworld, Vincent Russo exuded an aura of unshakable authority. As the head of one of the most feared Mafia families, he carried himself with a cold, commanding presence that made everyone around him tremble just a little. His sharp gaze, always calculating, seemed to pierce through every facade, revealing nothing but icy detachment. To the outside world, he was a man shrouded in mystery, imposing, untouchable, a figure who ruled his empire with relentless precision. But beneath that veneer of coldness lay a hidden complexity, one that few ever glimpsed. Meanwhile, Emma was just a humble maid, a girl from a modest neighborhood who had taken this job out of necessity. Her days were filled with chores, dusting, sweeping, and trying to keep her head above water in a life that never quite offered her a moment to breathe. She was young, with tired eyes that reflected her quiet resilience, yet she had never dared to dream of anything beyond her simple routines. Her world was small, confined to the estate she worked in and the modest hopes she clung to. Their worlds collided unexpectedly on a chilly evening during a lavish party hosted at the estate. Emma had been assigned to help with preparations, serving drinks, arranging flowers, and making sure everything ran smoothly. She moved swiftly through the crowded ballroom, her plain dress blending into the background of glitz and glamour. Her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and awe as she watched the glamorous women in shimmering gowns and the men with their commanding airs. She was acutely aware of her insignificance in this world of wealth and power. Then it happened. Emma, rushing past the table, accidentally spilled a glass of red wine right in front of Vincent Russo himself. The room fell silent for a moment. All eyes turned to her, her cheeks flaming with embarrassment. She looked down quickly, trembling, expecting anger or ridicule. But Vincent's eyes, cold and calculating, fixated on her. Without a word, he extended a hand, signaling her to stay still. His gesture was commanding yet strangely gentle, as if he sensed her distress. Emma hesitated, then reluctantly stepped closer. "Careful," he said quietly, his voice low and steady. There was no anger, only a calm authority that made her feel small, yet strangely captivated. His glance lingered for a moment longer than necessary, a subtle, almost imperceptible look that seemed to assess her beneath his stoic exterior. That glance, so brief yet so charged, left an impression. To Emma, Vincent was everything her world was not: powerful, mysterious, cold. Yet beneath that icy exterior, she sensed something more, something unspoken. It was as if he saw her, not as just a maid, but as a person standing on the outside of his glittering universe. And somehow, that small gesture, that quiet moment, hinted at a future that might hold more than just fear or fascination. Later that night, as the party roared around them, Emma found herself cornered by unruly guests, their drunken laughter turning aggressive. Panic surged through her. Just as she prepared to retreat, Vincent appeared from the shadows. His presence was immediate and commanding. With a single gesture, he quieted the crowd and gently but firmly guided Emma away from danger. His cold gaze softened just enough to reassure her, even if she couldn't quite understand why she felt safer in his grip than she ever had before. In that moment, Emma saw the stark contrast: her humble life, her ordinary fears, her insignificance in this world of wealth and danger, and Vincent's imposing authority, his distant coldness, and the strange, undeniable flicker of something more. Could a man so detached and powerful truly see her as anything more than a servant? Did he notice the tremor in her voice, the flicker of hope she dared not express? As she looked into his eyes, Emma wondered, was there a place for someone like her in his world? Or was she destined to remain just a fleeting glimpse in his cold, calculated universe? And more than that, she couldn't help but ask herself, does he see her for who she truly is, beneath the layers of power and mystery? If this story has captured your curiosity, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and tell me, where are you watching from? Let's explore together the dangerous, tender world where love might just bloom between the unlikely and the powerful. The grand ballroom buzzed with laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses, but Vincent Russo's focus was elsewhere. Despite the crowd of women vying for his attention, his thoughts kept drifting back to Emma, the modest maid who had so unexpectedly crossed his path. She had spilled wine in front of him, yes, but somehow, that moment had opened a door he didn't realize he'd been longing to walk through. Now, as Emma moved around the room, gathering empty glasses and avoiding the gaze of the guests, Vincent decided to approach her. "Didn't anyone teach you to be more careful?" he asked, his voice calm but edged with a sharpness that made her startle. Emma looked up, her cheeks flushing. "It was an accident," she replied softly, trying to keep her voice steady. Vincent's gaze flickered with a hint of amusement. Or was it something more tender? "Accidents happen, but in my world they tend to come with consequences." Emma frowned, feeling her guard rise. "I'm just doing my job," she said defensively. "I don't belong here." Vincent's eyes darkened briefly, as if recalling a distant pain. "You're more than just a maid," he said quietly, almost to himself. "You shouldn't be afraid of this place, Emma. It's not where you belong, but I see something in you that they don't. Don't let their judgments define you." Her eyes widened at his words. No one had ever looked at her that way, so honestly, so vulnerably. For a moment, they simply stared at each other, the noise of the party fading into the background. Emma felt a strange pull, like a quiet whisper in her mind telling her there was more to Vincent than his cold reputation. Later that evening, as they crossed paths again, their conversation grew more personal. Emma hesitated before speaking, unsure if she should reveal her struggles. "It's hard," she admitted softly. "Balancing everything, my studies, my job, my family. Sometimes, it feels like I'm drowning." Vincent's expression softened, revealing a rare glimpse of pain beneath his stoic exterior. "You think I don't understand that?" he murmured. "My past is filled with pain I can't forget. I lost someone very dear to me, someone I loved more than anything. That pain never really leaves you." Emma's breath hitched. She had never imagined that the man who seemed so distant, so powerful, carried wounds that cut just as deep as her own. "Do you ever feel like giving up?" she asked quietly. He looked away for a moment, then met her gaze again. "Sometimes," he admitted honestly. "But then I remember why I keep going. Because I have responsibilities, people counting on me. And because I see hope in unlikely places. Like you?" A spark ignited between them, tiny but undeniable. It was the first time Vincent had openly shared his pain, and Emma saw beyond his cold exterior, glimpsing the vulnerability beneath. She realized that their worlds, so vastly different, were both filled with struggles and scars. In that moment, a fragile connection formed, an unspoken understanding. Neither of them was perfect or free from pain, but in their shared vulnerability, something quietly blossomed. Emma felt her heart flutter, surprised by the warmth that was slowly growing amid the coldness surrounding Vincent. She wondered, for the first time, if this was where their story could begin, beyond the confines of their worlds, beyond appearances, into something real. Could the man who seemed so distant and powerful truly see her as more than just a humble maid? Or was this moment just a fleeting spark destined to fade? As she looked into Vincent's eyes, she felt the faintest whisper of hope, an invitation to discover what lay beneath the shadows. And she couldn't help but wonder, might there be more waiting for them, just beyond the pain? If this story has caught your interest, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and tell me, where are you watching from? Let's explore together the fragile beginnings of a connection that might change everything. As Emma and Vincent's quiet connection grew, so did the weight of the world pressing down on them. What started as fleeting glances and shared secrets soon became a fragile hope that perhaps, against all odds, they could find a way to be together. But the shadows of Vincent's reputation loomed large, and the more Emma saw the man behind the cold exterior, the more she understood that their bond was more dangerous than she had ever imagined. It wasn't just their difference in social standing, it was the enemies lurking in the darkness, waiting to strike. Rumors spread quickly around the estate, whispers of Vincent's past deeds, some true, some exaggerated, circulating among the guests and staff. An enemy from Vincent's past, a rival gang leader, had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Emma overheard hushed conversations in the corridors. "He's too dangerous. Everyone knows Vincent's empire is built on blood. Getting involved with him is suicide." Fear crept into her heart, but it was nothing compared to the storm brewing in Vincent's own mind. He had secrets, deep wounds from a life filled with violence and betrayal. His past was a tangled web of enemies and betrayals he had fought to escape, yet they were never truly gone. Now, those enemies threatened to pull him, and anyone close to him, into their deadly game. Emma's simple life, her hopes for a future, suddenly felt fragile, vulnerable beneath the weight of the truth. Vincent had warned her once. "This world I'm part of isn't made for someone like you. You're innocent kind. If we're discovered, it will destroy everything." But Emma, stubborn and brave, refused to turn away. She believed in what they shared, even if the world said it was impossible. Their relationship was a secret, something kept hidden behind locked doors and whispered promises. Yet, secrets have a way of slipping out, and the day came when their world threatened to collapse. A betrayal from within Vincent's own family surfaced, an insider who had been feeding information to rivals. One evening, as Emma was quietly helping in the kitchen, a shadow slipped into the room, a man with a crooked smile, his eyes filled with malice. "You should be careful," he hissed, voice cold. "Vincent's weakness is obvious. You're just a pawn, nothing more." Emma's heart pounded. She realized the danger was no longer just to Vincent but to anyone who dared to love him. The rival gang was closing in, their threats escalating, their plans to take Vincent down becoming more concrete. Emma's fears deepened. If they were caught, it wouldn't just be their love that was destroyed, but their very lives. Vincent, wounded but determined, knew this was more than a risky romance. It was a battle for survival. "If they find out about us," he said quietly one night, "everything will fall apart. I won't let them take you away, but I can't protect you if you're involved." Emma looked into his eyes, seeing fear, desperation, and a flicker of something fierce, her own love, hardened by the reality of their danger. The world was determined to keep them apart, to erase what little hope they had. And as they faced the undeniable truth, that their love could cost them everything, they knew that for their bond to survive, they would have to confront not just the enemies outside, but the darkness within Vincent's own past. The stakes had never been higher. The question lingered, could love truly conquer the peril that surrounded them? Or was their connection doomed to be just a fleeting spark in a world consumed by shadows? If this story has resonated with you, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more, and tell me, where are you watching from? Let's explore the dangerous, forbidden love that fights against impossible odds. In the quiet shadows of the estate, behind locked doors and whispered secrets, Emma and Vincent's connection burned brighter than ever. Despite the danger, despite the odds stacked against them, they found themselves drawn together by a force neither could deny. Every stolen glance, every fleeting touch, only deepened their unspoken bond, fueling their longing even more. It was love woven into the fabric of danger, a forbidden dance that neither dared to halt. Late at night, when the estate was cloaked in silence, Emma would find herself slipping into the room where Vincent often retreated. She knew it was reckless, an act that could shatter everything, but her heart demanded more. She hesitated at the door, her hand trembling as she pushed it open just enough to slip inside. Vincent was seated by the window, staring into the darkness, his jaw clenched, yet his eyes softened the moment he saw her. Without a word, Emma moved closer, her steps tentative but desperate. She reached out, her fingertips brushing his arm, and he turned slowly, eyes locking onto hers. The world outside the window, the danger, the responsibilities, the looming threats, faded into insignificance in that moment. It was just them, two souls craving connection amid chaos. Vincent's voice was low, rough with restraint. "You shouldn't be here," he murmured, his hand trembling as he reached out to gently touch her face. "It's too dangerous." But then, he paused, his gaze flickering with a mixture of longing and pain. "But I can't stay away." Emma's breath hitched. "I don't care about danger anymore," she whispered, her voice trembling but unwavering. "I've waited too long to feel alive again. I need you here now." With that, she closed the gap between them, her lips brushing softly against his. The kiss was tentative at first, an act of rebellion, a plea for something real in a world that told them they shouldn't have it. But it quickly deepened, fueled by their raw need, their undeniable chemistry. Vincent's arms wrapped around her, pulling her close as if to shield her from everything threatening to tear them apart. Their bodies pressed together, hearts pounding in unison. In that stolen intimacy, they shared everything: fear, hope, longing, forgetting for a moment that the world was watching, waiting to tear them apart. Their closeness was electricity, each glance, each touch igniting a fire that refused to be extinguished. Emma felt her worries melt away under Vincent's gentle yet possessive embrace. Despite the dark past he carried, despite the enemies hunting him, he was tender with her, as if she were the only thing that mattered. And Vincent, in turn, saw in Emma a spark of light, a fragile hope that somehow defied the shadows surrounding him. But even amid their passion, the shadows of their reality lurked just beyond the door. The risks, they knew, were enormous. If they were caught, it would mean ruin, pain, perhaps even death. Yet, in that moment, love eclipsed all fears. Nothing else mattered but this fragile, stolen moment of closeness. As Emma looked into Vincent's eyes, she realized she was no longer just a humble maid in his world. She was someone who had ignited a fire within him, a fire that refused to be extinguished by danger or duty. Vincent, for all his coldness and authority, was vulnerable here, revealing a side that no one else saw. His hands trembled as he brushed a stray lock of hair from her face, a silent promise shared between them. Despite the rules, despite the risks, they both knew that their love was worth fighting for. Their hearts beat together in a rhythm that defied the chaos outside. They couldn't stay apart, nor did they want to. Every glance, every touch, was a declaration of defiance against the world that sought to keep them apart. They knew the road ahead would be treacherous, filled with obstacles and enemies ready to strike. But for now, in this sacred moment, they were just two souls lost in a love that refused to be denied. And as they held each other close, whispering promises into the night, the audience watching from afar couldn't help but feel their hearts race. Love, dangerous, forbidden, and exhilarating, had found its way into the most unlikely of places. Against all the rules, against all the odds, Emma and Vincent had claimed their moment. The world might try to tear them apart, but neither of them would let go. Not now. Not ever. If this story has captivated you, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and tell me, where are you watching from? Let's continue exploring this forbidden love that defies everything. The night had been quiet, or so Emma thought, until the sudden explosion shattered the silence like a thunderclap. Walls trembled, dust and debris rained down, and chaos erupted in the grand hall where Vincent Russo had been entertaining his guests. Emma's heart leapt into her throat as she instinctively ducked behind a fallen pillar, clutching her chest in fear. She knew what this was: betrayal, an attack orchestrated by enemies eager to take him down. Vincent had always walked a razor's edge, but now, everything was crumbling in an instant. From the smoke and rubble, Vincent appeared, his face grim and bloodied, eyes blazing with fury. "Emma!" he shouted, reaching for her amid the chaos. But before she could move, a figure emerged from the shadows, someone she trusted, someone who had been close to Vincent all along. It was a revelation that hit her like a punch. Her own confidant, the one she'd believed in, was the mastermind behind the attack. Blackmail, secrets, betrayal, all laid bare in that devastating moment. Emma's world spun. Vincent, furious and betrayed, realized the truth. The attack had been a carefully planned move to weaken him, to force him to surrender his power. And in that chaos, a dark secret was revealed, an affair, a hidden alliance, a promise made in shadows that could topple everything Vincent had built. The enemies had succeeded in tearing apart the illusion of safety. As the dust settled, Vincent's men stormed in, forcing Emma away from Vincent's side. She watched helplessly as he was dragged, his face hardening with a mixture of rage and despair. "Vincent!" she called, but he was gone, swallowed by the shadows of the room. Emma's heart clenched. She knew what he was risking: the throne, his reputation, his life, for her. And yet, the attack had exposed a brutal choice. He could surrender his power, let everything go, or fight to hold on to the empire, and her. Vincent faced the grim reality. To save her, to protect what remained of his empire, he might have to make the ultimate sacrifice. Giving up his throne, his influence, perhaps even his life, if it meant keeping her safe. But Vincent was a man of strength and pride. He looked at Emma, trembling but unyielding, and made his decision. "If I must give up everything to keep you alive," he said fiercely, "then so be it. I won't lose you." Emma's eyes filled with determination. "I'm willing to stand by your side, no matter what," she whispered, her voice trembling but resolute. "I believe in us. I believe in you." Her words ignited something in Vincent: hope, defiance, a fierce love that refused to bow to darkness. He reached out, pulling her close despite the chaos around them. "Then we fight," he declared, voice heavy with promise. "No matter how dark the night, I won't let anyone tear us apart. You're my only truth now." Their futures hung in the balance: his empire, her safety, their love. The enemies had thought they could break him, threaten his power, destroy what little hope remained. But Vincent's resolve was unbreakable. He would face whatever came next, whether it meant losing everything or fighting to reclaim what had been stolen. Emma, standing beside him, knew she had to prove her loyalty. She would stand her ground, face the dangers, and fight by his side. Love, she realized, was not just about the sweet moments. They were about sacrifice, the willingness to stand in the fire for each other. As the dust settled, Vincent took Emma's hand, guiding her through the ruins toward an uncertain future. They knew the road ahead would be perilous, filled with enemies lurking in every shadow. But for now, love had become their strongest weapon, a beacon of hope amid the darkness. Vincent's eyes locked onto hers, fierce and unwavering. "Together," he whispered, "we will survive this. And nothing, no betrayal, no attack, will ever tear us apart." Emma nodded, her resolve hardening. She was ready to face the storm, to stand by his side, and to prove that their love was worth fighting for, no matter the cost. The night had become a battlefield. The grand hall, once filled with laughter and opulence, now echoed with the clash of weapons and the shouts of enemies closing in. Vincent Russo stood at the center of it all, his eyes locked onto Emma's, as if trying to find strength within her gaze. They knew this was their final stand: either they fought together, risking everything for their forbidden love, or they would be torn apart forever. Around them, the enemies, those who had betrayed Vincent, had come to finish what they started. The traitor, the one who had orchestrated the attack, now emerged from the shadows, a cruel smile on his face. "You thought love could save you, Vincent," he sneered. "But love is just a weakness. Power is everything." Vincent clenched his fists, but in his eyes was a fierce determination. "Love is my strength," he replied, voice steady. "And I won't let anyone take that from me, not even you." Emma stepped forward, her heart pounding but her resolve unwavering. She knew what was at stake: her safety, Vincent's empire, and their love that defied all rules. She reached into her pocket, clutching the small locket he had given her, a symbol of their fragile hope. "If I have to fight for us," she whispered, "then I will. I'll prove that love is stronger than power." Vincent nodded, gripping his weapon tightly. "Then let's end this, together." They charged into the chaos, fighting side by side. Emma was quick and fierce, her courage surprising those who underestimated her humble origins. Vincent's experience and strength cut through the enemy ranks, but he kept his eyes on Emma, protecting her from every blow. Every swing, every shot, was a declaration: they wouldn't surrender their love without a fight. The traitor, realizing they wouldn't be broken easily, pulled out a gun, aiming it at Vincent's chest. Emma saw it, her breath hitching. Without hesitation, she threw herself forward, knocking Vincent aside at the last second. The bullet whistled past, hitting a nearby pillar instead. Emma collapsed onto the floor, clutching her side, blood seeping through her fingers. Vincent's face twisted with pain and fury. "Emma!" he shouted, rushing to her side. "No, I won't lose you," he snarled, pulling her into his arms. The traitor sneered, stepping forward, about to deliver the final blow. But Vincent, bloodied and battered, refused to give up. With a roar, he lunged at the traitor, tackling him to the ground and wrestling the weapon away. The two men fought fiercely, their struggles echoing through the ruined hall. Emma watched, her heart pounding, her love, her sacrifice, all for this moment. Then, Vincent managed to overpower the traitor, pinning him to the floor. Panting, blood dripping from his hands, Vincent looked at Emma with an intensity that spoke volumes. "This," he said, voice strained but resolute, "is what love costs. I will always fight for us, no matter what." Tears welled in Emma's eyes as she saw his vulnerability, her hero, her protector, willing to risk everything. And in that moment she knew their love had proven itself beyond words. The enemies had been defeated, their threat neutralized, but the true victory was in their unity. As Vincent carefully helped Emma to her feet, he gazed into her eyes. "Love isn't about power or rules," he whispered. "It's about standing together, even in the darkest moments. And I choose you, always." Emma reached up, touching his face tenderly. "I choose you too," she whispered back. "No matter how forbidden, how dangerous. I'll fight for us, for our love, until the end." And so, amid the wreckage and smoke, they found their resolve. Both knew the cost of their love, danger, sacrifice, secrecy, but neither hesitated. Because in that moment they were fighting not just for survival, but for the future they dared to dream of, a life where love could conquer all, even in the face of the fiercest enemies and the highest stakes. Their hearts beat as one, defying the world that sought to keep them apart, proving that true love was worth any fight. The night sky stretched endlessly above the estate, quiet now after the chaos and battles that had threatened to tear everything apart. Vincent Russo stood alone on the balcony, gazing out over the city he had once ruled with iron fists and dangerous power. His heart felt heavy, burdened by the choices he had made and the love he dared not fully admit. For so long, he had lived on the edge, power, danger, and fear were his companions. But everything changed the moment Emma entered his life. Her gentle spirit, her unwavering loyalty, and her quiet strength had shown him a different way, a path where love could heal wounds that no amount of violence could. Tonight Vincent was making a decision he knew would shock everyone, including himself. With a deep breath, he turned away from the city and stepped inside, where Emma waited in the modest little room she had made her sanctuary. Her eyes widened when she saw him, no longer the feared Mafia boss, but a man who looked at her with vulnerability and hope. He reached out, taking her trembling hands in his. "Emma," he said softly, voice trembling with emotion. "I've spent my life chasing power, afraid to let go. But I realize now that what I truly want, what I've always wanted, is you. A future with you. No more danger, no more secrets. Just us." Emma's eyes shimmered with tears, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and disbelief. "Vincent," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "You're willing to leave all of it behind? The danger, the fear, for me?" He nodded, a faint smile breaking through his tough exterior. "Because I've learned that love isn't about control or power. It's about risking everything for what truly matters. And I want to build a new life, one where we're safe, where we're free, and where we can love without fear." With that, Vincent gently pulled her into his arms, holding her close as if to shield her from the world's harshness. Emma felt her worries melt away, replaced by a fierce hope that together, they could forge something real, something stronger than all the darkness that had once threatened to consume them. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Leaving behind his dangerous empire meant risking his life, his reputation, and the enemies still lurking in the shadows. But love, she realized, was worth every risk. It was a light that could pierce even the deepest darkness. Over the following days, they began their new life together. Vincent slowly stepped away from his old ways, choosing to protect Emma and start fresh. He met with honest men and sought a peaceful path, knowing that true strength was in choosing love over fear. Emma, in turn, found her voice, helping him build a future based on trust and hope. They dreamed of a small, quiet home, far from the violence and chaos, a sanctuary where love could flourish without the shadows of the past looming over them. One evening, standing hand in hand under the fading sunset, Vincent looked into Emma's eyes and whispered, "This is just the beginning. Love has given me the courage to change, to be better, for us. I never want to lose this, never again." Emma smiled through her tears, feeling the warmth of his promise. "We're stronger now," she said softly. "Love has conquered our fears. And I believe in us, more than ever." Their journey was just beginning, but in that moment, hope filled the air. Love had transformed their lives, showing them that even in the darkest times, a new beginning was possible. Together, they faced the future with courage and faith, knowing that love's true power was in its ability to heal, to transform, and to give strength where fear once dwelled. And as they stepped forward into the dawn, it was clear, their love was a beacon, bright and unbreakable, lighting the way to a better tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, subscribe for more stories of love and hope, and share your thoughts in the comments. Love conquers all, even in the face of darkness. Remember, sometimes the greatest power lies in the courage to start anew.